Yes, good morning, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our EnergyMap project. We started this project here at UDK in September, so it's all quite new. Our objective in this project is to build a digital, online, openly available and building specific, that's important, heat consumption map for the entire city of Berlin based on crowdsourced data. So why do we want to do this? We think, and we are not the only ones to think this, that community planning for energy systems in cities is a great accelerator for the... This way? Yeah, okay. So it can accelerate hugely the fight against the climate crisis, in the sense that we can, by planning on an urban scale, decarbonize the energy delivery to the buildings more efficiently. In this way, we will have a district transformation instead of only looking at energy systems for single buildings, and we can incorporate a whole group, a larger building ensemble, into new concepts for energy delivery, especially heating and cooling demands. So in that way, we want to facilitate the concerted efforts between different stakeholders that usually wouldn't know that together they can design a better, more efficient energy system for their buildings. Another thing that we want to tackle with our project is that we want to build an open resource. Currently, there are some data sources that can be used, but due to data protection issues, the data is most of the time very much aggregated, so you cannot get building-specific data from it. Also, due to data protection, there are holes in the map of your data, so not each and every building of the city has data connected to it. There are even a lot of data sources, map-based data sources, that are not open for all stakeholders in the city, and they are restricted. And another point is that data sources are quite often very old. For example, in the daily business, we are dealing with data sources that are like 30 years old, which have never been updated, and there's no plan to update these things in the future. So what we want to do is to build a web tool for forward-looking sustainable planning on the urban scale. And for this, we want to implement a building-specific energy map, which has probability distributions regarding the results that we can give on the buildings. So planners know how certain we are with the data that we can publish. We also want to give the opportunity for planners to play around with the data, in the sense that they can see the effects of certain refurbishment measures on the buildings they are looking at. For this, we are also providing filtering and aggregation tools on our web map service. And of course, everything will be visualized and can be downloaded, so it can be used in different projects. In the end, we even want to give users the opportunity to help us refine the data so they can get better results in return. Of course, we are not doing this alone. We have 4 project partners here in Berlin. This is CO2 Online. Maybe you heard of them. They have a great website with tips and tricks for your own energy consumption. They are managing our crowdsourcing campaign and also the social media. Then we have Zenacon. They do IT development, and they are experts on data privacy, which is a huge part of our project because we are touching some sensitive data points, and we have to make sure that everything that we do is allowed. Then we have our partner in Potsdam, the geoinformation experts, LUP, who will provide a reference geometry model for the entire city. And finally, we have the municipal partner, Bezirksamt Berlin-Charlottenburg, who gets us in contact with institutions, public and private institutions, and also directly to the citizens. So our approach for this project, and we are right now starting to implement certain aspects of this, is that we have the crowdsourcing at the beginning. There's a website online now where users, citizens can donate their data, which is basically the energy consumption of their own flat or their own house maybe. And this data will be gathered on this website and then put into our pre-processing, where we will validate this in the first step to make sure that there are no errors in the data inputs. And we will also enrich the data so that we can get literature data, which is common to fill gaps in the data that even the users of the buildings don't know. And then with all this data, we will go into the training of a neural network, a machine learning technique, to build a neural network that can then predict the energy consumption of each and every building in the city. So what's important to note here is that the donated data will never be published. What is published is the prediction of the consumption for a building with certain errors that will probably be there, and with a distribution, how good the match is. But the data that users can donate to us will never be published. So then we have this publication stage where we have our EnergyMap service online in the later phases of our project, where people can do exactly what we hope users can do, what I described earlier with all the filtering and aggregation tools, and also play around with refurbishment measures. And then in the end, we want to have this iterative refinement where people can go onto the map, look at the data that is already there, and hopefully help us correct our neural network and also complement building data that's not there already. So I talked about this. If you want, and I hope we could motivate you, you can donate your energy consumption data. I put up this helpful QR code, or you just go to energymap.berlin, where you can then answer all the questions in the questionnaire. So the data donation is anonymous, but you have to keep in mind that we have to cross-reference this with the geometry of your building. So you have to give us a marker on the map where your building is located. And I would also suggest that you wait until you are at home to fill out the data, because you definitely need your utility bill. Otherwise, you cannot put in all the data that we want. To put an emphasis on why we need so much data and why we are asking citizens to help us, is because we want to have this neural network computation core. And this requires a lot of data. We think our current estimation is that we need thousands or even tens of thousands of data sets that we can put into the training. And this is why it's so important for us to spread the word and get data donations. I mean, you know, the buildings are very diverse. Each and every building is different. They all have different usage. So this is important that we get a lot of data. So this is a software framework that we designed. This is a simplified version of it. Now we are implementing databases and stuff. You can see in the upper left corner, the crowdsourcing campaign, which is funneled into a database. Then you have the mentioned geometry that our project partners prepare for us, which is also going into the database. And we also have current public data sources like GIS-based data, which the city of Berlin publishes, and some other data sources. And all of this goes together into data mapping, which is a crucial step where we have to put all these data sources together and get a nice overlay so we know all of the data for certain buildings. And all this is then going into the training of the neural network. And hopefully this will get us nice results with a high accuracy. And then we can deploy this trained neural network to our EnergyMap website in a later stage of the project and have all the fancy visualization and download tools that planners might want to use. So to test this, we have 3 different test cases. The first one will be this campus we are in right now of TU Berlin and UDK. After that, we go to the Mierendorf-Insel close by, where we also have residential buildings. And then, of course, on the scale of the entire city, we will also do tests. So yeah, please donate your data, maybe spread the word, and thank you for the attention.